So I know I just went live, but there was something I forgot to say, and I'm going to go say this in comments too. But also, I'm just kind of sitting here, so if anyone wanted to pop on and ask me any questions or anything, that's fine too. What was I trying to say? Oh, so when you do a spell like this, okay, when you do a spell that is cleansing and then blessing, but let's focus on the cleansing first, right? Hi, Sarah. When you do a spell that is cleansing, right? What does that mean? Let's break it down. Oh my God, infinite love hearts from Sarah is making my life right now. I love you, Sarah. Sarah, I've been loving you. You are so lovely. Okay, so when we're cleansing, what does that mean, right? It means we are removing, we are taking away, we are getting rid of. And if we're getting rid of and we're using magic or spell work in order to get rid of, that means that we need divine assistance to get rid of, right? So if we had been able to get rid of whatever it is on our own, just through like sheer force of will, or just like thinking hard enough, or like trying hard enough, or whatever the case may be, we would have already gotten rid of whatever it was. Like, we wouldn't have needed the support. And I'm telling you this because when we do a spell like this, it's going to bring up some self-work. This is how spells manifest, okay? Spells manifest by drawing forth to us whatever it is that we need to have happen so that we can achieve the result. So if you're doing some type of magic that is around cleansing, it's going to pull forth whatever the situations are that you need to work through so that you can allow the cleansing to happen. Typically, cleansing is like the nice word version of boundary work, right? Like, if we're cleansing things from our life that are no longer needed, such as like, just like when we're cord cutting, if we are getting rid of something, that means that it's going to go away. And often, if these things are being gotten rid of, even if they're for our highest good, it can be challenging. I mean, I want to refer you to the podcast episode I just put out, actually, because I was inspired to put it out tonight before I set these spells, because I was thinking about my own life and my own shadow work and my own need to cleanse certain things from my life. And the reason that I needed to do that was because it was hard for me to do it. So if we're doing spell work that is designed to help us cleanse, it's because it's a challenging area for us. Also, spell work that is like to cleanse the bad and bring in the new, which is exactly the spell I'm doing tonight, right? Cleanse and bless. I'm saying take away everything that's not working for this person and then fill their energy back up with blessings, right? So if I'm saying that, I'm replacing what you're getting rid of with something positive. But in order to get rid of it, it is going to manifest in terms of like something's going to become abundantly clear to you that you no longer can like deal with it. And again, I want to refer you to my podcast I just dropped tonight. If this is challenging for you, please go listen to it, because I'm encouraging you to get through the harder parts. I'm encouraging you to get through the challenges. I'm encouraging you to cry whatever the tears are that need to be cried in order to achieve the goal. Because as I was talking about, so certain candles are burning significantly faster than others, like significantly faster. Some of these people were just more ready. But if we look over here, oh my goodness, I'm dropping things. If we look over here, look at this. This is like intense city over here. Okay? A lot of this wax is just like indicative of like challenges with the cleansing and challenges with the letting go portion of events. Letting go is hard, even if it is for our highest good and our ultimate healing, right? Like, letting go can be challenging because we're letting go of something that's familiar. And even if that familiarity is not something we like, it's still hard to let go of. So I am sitting here, and since I'm back on live, if anyone has any questions for me, feel free to leave them in comments, because I will gladly answer them for you. Hi, Victoria. It will get hard before it gets better. That is so right. see, here's the thing I always talk about with that, right? Because people will talk to me about how challenging shadow work is and how hard self-work is. They are right. It is so hard. However, living a life that is not in alignment with you is hard too. So I always want to say, like, pick the thing that's hard, but that is leading you to your ultimate goal. Like, pick the thing that's harder, like, for the short term, rather than that's just, like, enduringly hard. Because living your life when it's not in alignment with you is hard too. It's just a hard that we're used to. It's just like a challenge that we've become accustomed to. And looking at your life with awareness and seeing what's actually going on is also really hard. Hi, Rachel. But at least it's a hard that is motivational, because at the end of it, your life belongs to you and your life is better. So yeah, when you watch a candle that's cleansing burn and it burns quickly and it has a lot of tears, it's telling you it's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be a worthwhile challenge because you're ready to let go of this thing and it leads you closer to your goals. That's kind of what shadow work is. It's just getting off of autopilot and it's starting to say to yourself, what kind of life do I want to have? What kind of life do I currently have? What are the missing steps between what I'm currently living and where I want to be living? And how can I do the work to deprogram myself, to reclaim, to get off autopilot and stop living the way that I've always been living? Because if living the way that you've always been living was in alignment with the highest version of yourself, you would already be living at the highest version of yourself. And so it's like, what do I have to do to get there? And then it's modifying your behavior every chance you get, snapping off autopilot. And the reason I'm fixated on snapping off autopilot is simply because our brains are like these little computers. And they got programmed by our parents or our caretakers or whomever raised us with certain programs that run. And these programs tell us, here's how we respond to XYZ situation. But none of us ever stop to say to ourselves, do I agree with this program? Do I want to respond to this situation in the way that I am automatically responding? Am I acting in alignment with my ideals, with my values, with the way I believe the world to work? Or am I just on autopilot? Am I reacting instead of being proactive? And shadow work and self-work just turns off autopilot, and it has us be super aware of why we're responding to things or what that response even is. And it allows us to make a conscious, different choice. That's really what we're doing. And then when we have a really hard time making that choice that's more in alignment with ourselves, that is where our work is. So I had someone on my personal Facebook leave me a really smart question. She was like, well, okay, what is shadow work? Because I am like disorganized and I am bad at communicating and I want to like lose weight. So how do I fix these problems? And I said to her, shadow work isn't about you being disorganized. Shadow work isn't about you having a tough time with communication, and it's not about you needing to lose weight. Your shadow work is going to be in how do you treat yourself when you are trying to achieve those goals? What do you say to yourself when you're trying to work on your organization? Are you kind to yourself? Are you not kind to yourself? How can you treat yourself with more compassion when you're saying to yourself, all right, I want to get more organized? Are you saying, this shouldn't be that hard. Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? Or are you saying, how can I be aware that this is hard for me? And how can I set myself up for success? How can I be kind to myself? How can I love myself? How can I be gentle with myself? And what are the barriers between me and that? That's what the shadow work is. It's how you're interacting with yourself and when you're on autopilot versus when you're intentionally choosing your behavior. Melissa, hello, my darling. Hi, Rianne. This morning I told myself I was going to quit drinking again during my meditation. Then I see your post about this cleanse. I needed this. Thanks so much. Melissa, I am so proud of you, as you super know. This will help you with that. When you do a cleansing spell, you can totally target it with like cleansing yourself from addictive behaviors or compulsive behaviors. Expect that it will dredge up the challenges, but also when you feel yourself have some type of inner resolve kind of come out of nowhere, lean into it. We have this weird tendency to like fight ourselves on our own behavior changes because they feel different to us. And that's the very first point of what I've been talking about, which is that shadow work, which is just holding the space for yourself to get through it. So, Melissa, do an excellent job. You're going to be just fine. As you have that inner strength, let it sit, let it stand, and don't question it. Just be proud of yourself and just be nice to yourself. Does anybody else have any questions for me while I'm on live? Because I am just here, and I am just watching, I'm candle sitting, babysitting some candles. The other thing I want to talk about with the candle work is to set it and forget it. So those of you who have your names in this spell, or those of you who have done a previous community spell with me, or if you do your own spell work, set it and forget it is my rule for spell work. What do I mean by that? I mean, put your everything into the candle. Set it with all of your intention, all of your meditation, all of your energy. Put it all in there. And then once the spell is done, forget about it. You don't think about it. You're not going to interact with it anymore. And the reason for this is because you're trusting that the spell work is done. You're trusting that the change has been made. You're trusting that it's fully integrated and incorporated into you. And the more you think about it and wonder about it, the more you're kind of like undermining it or like dredging it back up and poking some holes in the energy around it. So just assume that it worked. Anyone whose name is in this spell, assume that you're cleansed and assume that you are blessed, because you are. I want to focus on the blessing portions as well, because interestingly enough, there can be a lot of shadow work around blessings too. When we are trying to be blessed by the universe, sometimes it brings us our feelings, it brings up our feelings of unworthiness, and we might have a hard time. A lot of people like cast spells against themselves with sentences such as like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's too good to be true. Now, some of that's true, and that if that's your intuition talking to you, then you can go ahead and listen to that. But if you're just kind of in this space where you're like freaking out because good things are happening and you're not sure how to allow good things to happen to you, that's a place of shadow work for you, right? Like you can say, what do I need to do in order to allow myself to actually be blessed and to think like, okay, maybe things work out for me. Maybe I'm okay. All that good stuff. There's a lot of self-coaching. I think that people don't realize that people who are successful with their self-work are always talking themselves through it. I think that there's this secret that should not be a secret, but it is one, that when you're starting to do your self-work, you have all these tips and tricks and secret things running through your mind all the time. You are like talking yourself through your moments. Everyone does that, but people don't talk about it. So if you suddenly realize, oh no, I need to like self-coach, what's wrong with me? You use it as another place to beat yourself up when that might not even be appropriate, right? Because that's what self-work is. Self-coaching, talking ourselves through the hard times. That's what we're doing all the time. So if things start to go well for you, maybe you can allow them to go well for you, right? Especially on the aftermath of a spell designed to draw in more blessings for you. Can we let ourselves be successful? Can we let ourselves achieve our goals? Like a spell can make your shit like just like snap into place. And so your question for yourself is like, why do I hinder myself from being able to allow it to just kind of blossom in my life? Okay. I'm done rambling, I think, unless anybody has any questions for me. If anyone has any questions for me about how the thing is set up or what's going on or what anything is, it's all really pretty. I love to do community spells. I just think it's like the nicest. And with my crystals, I have a lot of crystal points happening up on the little makeshift candle holder box that we have. I have directed the points away from the center candle. The center candle is the spelled candle, okay? And I've directed the crystal points that are up there with it into the candles on the side because they are generating and directing that energy through themselves to all the candle work over on the side. So that's just another little tip, is to figure out, like, every crystal that I've placed around this candle was intentional, and every crystal placed around this candle has a purpose, and I've placed them in an order that I felt was harmonious for all of them. I also have one of my Enchanted Keys over there with the spell work. Those keys I've enchanted to remove blockages and open roads, and to allow things to happen with ease. So adding enchanted objects or spelled objects or magical objects to your spell work, if they're in alignment with the spell, they will increase and enhance the spell work. And I also have some abundance beads as well. Okay, I am fully rambling, and no one has left me a question, which is totally fine. So if anyone thinks of anything and they have questions, you can leave them in comments, and I will hopefully get to them soon. But I just wanted to pop back in and say, like, if you've been in this spell, don't be surprised if things come up that are opportunities for you to enact the cleansing. See, a spell is not going to just make it happen all of a sudden out of nowhere. A lot of times you have to follow through and modify your own behavior. The spell is going to present you with opportunities to make it easier for you to cleanse yourself of things that don't go with you anymore. And sometimes it'll just remove those things as if by happenstance. But if you have some self-work to do around it, it's just going to present you with the right opportunity at the right time. And your job is to take that opportunity, because you know that on the other side of that is a blessing. That's why it's cleanse and bless. I'm removing things from your life that don't belong there, and I'm filling that space with blessings. That is what this spell is for. It's saying, please take away the things that aren't working, and please fill them with things that do work better. So when you get called to do your next level of work, of self-work, just know that it's worth it, because the other side of it is a blessing. All right, have a beautiful night. Happy Lionsgate. Happy new moon. Love you all.